Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Shotsuki Monthly Memorial Service. My name is Joe Klein, and I will be the chairperson today. Reverend Fujimoto will read the names of those who have passed away in the month of September, and those observing the monthly memorial for loved ones, please come forward and offer incense.
Good morning, everyone. Ohayo gozaimasu. Nice to be back here to have a service again. We had a few weeks off, so nice to have everyone here. As Joe just mentioned, this is our Shotsuki, the monthly memorial for the month of September, and we'll be reading those names that people we have lost in our families in September of any year. So lots of connections come to mind as you look at and listen to the names that we read. So during the reading of the names, please come up and offer incense. Okay. Akinaga Osamu, Bruno Alberta, Doi Akitaka, Fukuyama Akiko, Hara Harry Hisashi, Hasegawa Akira, Hatakeda Tomo, Hori Yoshie, Imazumi Kanae, Imazumi Rose Toshiko, Inoue Chikara, Iwaihara Katsutaro, Kataoka Hisao, Kawahara Yukino, Kobu Sensaburo, Komatsu Kameko, Kuramoto Heihachiro, Maruyama Kazuko, Mashimoto Ryuzo, Matsuoka Edward Masao, Maeda Kinu, McCruskey Asako, Mikami Naoyemon, Mochizuki Kiyoshi, Moritomo Itsuko, Murakawa Takao, Meyer Richard V, Nagai Francis, Nakano Makoto, Nakano Tsuchino, Nakao Toshiko D, Nakao Toyokichi, Nakaso, Iku, Nishikawa, Kimio, Norie, Misuye, Ogawa, Kiyomi, Omi, Henry, Hayame, Ray, Sugitani, Saburo, Sugiyama, Shiro, Tabushi, Hinaka, Tajima, Nobu, Takeda, Risaburo, Tamura, Ray, Tateyama, Misuye, Tsuchiya, Marie, Tsurumoto, Tori, Tsuyuki, Kentaro, Umene, Torakichi, Yamada, Goichi, Yamamoto, Emiko, Yamamoto, Motonori, Yamamoto, Yujiro, Yamasaki, Magoichi, Yamasaki, Shina, Yamauchi, Yoneko, These are the Shotsuki names for the month of September. If there are additions or corrections, please notify the office. Thank you.
We will now have the Sanbujo on pages 24 and 25, followed by the reading of the Hyobyakumon, the purpose of this service.
Yobyakumon. Today, on the occasion of the Shotsuki Service for the month of September, members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie Soul. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda.
Please stand for the Gatha. Sutra chanting. Sorry. We will now have the sutra chanting. Thank you. Amida Kyo on page 103.
しき中連芸大名者に小式小公大式陽公釈式釈公学式白公微妙公結者に法国ら国土上重尿税空毒将軍武者理法義部国土調査天学黄金一昼夜六時にうまんだらけ広告修上上位小単各位英国教主妙慶空用他法十万の不物即理直次元と本国本直教業者理法国ら国道上中尿税空毒将軍本心者理法一国上集中企業雑式市長学校空着法務者理過料便が無名市長税調中長小や六時水和下音合音延長合根合力七五大分発祥道分尿税東方合同修正音声音理開実年仏年法年相社理法尿物意識小実税財法少々小医者が異部国土無三幕州社理法公部国土商務三幕同士尿学教実税小州庁改正阿弥陀仏力量法安全流演技調査社理法医部国土二部水道小法50流法ラモ睡眠尿本非尿百戦中学当時空差音声音社会人年上年仏年法年相死心社理法東部国土長寿尿税空毒将軍
And at this time, we can please stand for the Gatha. In the white book, Namo Amida Butsu 1, which is on page 96. And we'll remain standing and open the purple book for Three Treasures on page 8. So start with white on 96, Namu Amida Butsu 1.
Please switch to the purple books, page 8, Three Treasures, number 1. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we're able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda. Please be seated.
And now Reverend Fujimoto will give a Dharma talk.
Okay, good morning again. So it was refreshing to have some time off, and I think all of us were able to utilize the time. I had some vacation days, and in between, there's a week in between where we have our Buddhist Churches of America Ministerial Association summer study seminar. So this is called the Fuken. So each year in August we have this Fuken gathering of the ministers, and we take turns. Each of the districts take turns to host this meeting, and so it was a turn of the northern district, so Stockton, Lodi, Sacramento area. So we had our meetings in Lodi and stayed at a hotel there, and the ministers came from all over Los Angeles area, the Northwest, Eastern District, New York, and Chicago were able to come in. And so it's a nice time to be able to see the ministers, and particularly through the pandemic, it was very rare to meet in person. So to come again and to see each other, not only do we have lectures to go through, we have a business meeting as well, and go through a lot of the things happening within BCA that are pertinent to the ministers. So it's a nice time, and some of the ministers add their vacation time to that, and some of them brought spouses, and they hide out in their room and go visiting elsewhere. Some of them had kids come, if they live nearby, and so it's nice to see the families kind of growing and developing as we are able to meet this one time a year. So we've had this Fuken in the Buddhist Churches of America all through the history of the BCA, and it started from the time of the Buddha, and during the summer months, it would be the rainy season in India, and so the insects would utilize the moisture, and so this would be the time where they would breed and lay eggs, and so through the rainy season, swarms of insects would come to life as they reproduced and laid their eggs. And so this was the time where they would all hatch. And so the Buddha thought should be the time where instead of traveling most of the year, they go from place to place and teach about Buddhism, talk about Buddhism, have these gatherings. And so they would travel all throughout the countryside. And to do this while the breeding season's going on, they would needlessly kill a lot of these insects, right? Getting them, just like we go from here to there, bugs on the windshield as we drive to the next town or something like that, right? So it just happens and you can't help it. But so much as possible, trying to recognize and appreciate this life force. Even the smallest of bugs want to live their lives just as we do, right? And in appreciation and respect of that, they took this seasonal time. So we should just stay where we are, study, reflect, meditate, and then as well we could have our planning meetings and be able to visit. Okay, so this tradition has continued, and we call this the Fuken. Okay, so very basic teaching of Buddhism, that all life is valuable, and this is the basis of our annual meetings. And this year, each district when they host, they come up with a theme in different areas of study, and this time it was about chaplaincy, pastoral care, and we had two guest speakers. One was from Japan, Professor Naoki Nabeshima. Okay. I'm not used to talking after 3 weeks off, so I'm losing my voice here. I don't know what's up with that. So Nabeshima Sensei, he was talking about the Vihara movement, and in our Jodo Shinshu tradition at Honganji, 1987, he helped to start this Vihara movement, and this was, let me read his philosophy as the chairman of this group that he wrote at that time. The Vihara movement is created by Buddhists through the teamwork of specialists in Buddhism, medical care, social welfare, so that people who seek assistance will not be left alone by themselves, and so that we may all empathize with their anxieties and alleviate their suffering. Even a small amount. We ourselves also aspire to develop a mindful relationship that transcends death by viewing suffering and sorrow as a chance to reflect on the meaning of our own lives. The Vihara movement is a holistic system of caregiving for those who embrace the suffering and sorrow of birth, aging, sickness, and death. Is a community of people who realize the preciousness of human life. Okay. So this same sense of not wanting to kill the insects during the summer season. Oh. Thank you, Chaplain Sharman, coming to the rescue. Excuse me. Okay. So this same sense, and so the thing that they were talking about during the program, reflects the care that we try to share and instill at our temples. And so talking about this, and it's not always clear about what is the role of a chaplain, right? We have chaplains in hospitals, prisons, many different types of Boy Scouts, armed forces, so different types of chaplaincy that we have. And at our graduate school, Institute of Buddhist Studies, we have classes so that people can come in and fulfill those requirements to become a chaplain, and they can work in any capacity. So, for myself, I didn't really understand, as you study to become a minister, it's very different. When you go to a hospital setting, sometimes they might ask for a Buddhist minister, but they might be of a different sect of Buddhism, right? They might be Cambodian or Tibetan or Chinese, different culture. So maybe they'll speak their language. They don't speak English or Japanese. The chanting we do is not their chanting that they're accustomed to. So sometimes I felt a little bit handicapped in, well, how can I share? Maybe a Chinese Buddhist might be more comfortable with a Christian minister who can at least speak their language rather than me showing up, right? And so it was a little bit frustrating and kind of seeing the distinction between what is done as a minister in a temple, specific tradition, or being a chaplain, and really not, you don't need to, and sometimes you shouldn't identify with your own faith tradition. So these are things that we kind of learn and talk about. So this Nabeshima sensei, he was talking about the role of the Vihara Buddhist chaplain, and he's talking about coming into sometimes they just want to have someone to talk to just listen, express their depression, their despair, their suffering, their hopes, and things like this. And he says sometimes we're like a spiritual wastebasket. We don't put ourselves in the center of the room, but quietly to the side, and they throw all their garbage into us, the wastebasket, right? So, as I was preparing these thoughts, I was thinking about my own time when I was a much, much younger, student at the Institute of Buddhist Studies. We had one minister, sensei, who had taken chaplaincy courses and convinced the staff that this would be important for our students to learn. So he came to IBS to provide a chaplaincy training kind of course, right? Just a one semester thing. And he's not one of our usual teachers. So he came in and talked about this, and one of his assignments early on, so go to a hospital, local hospital, and sit with one of the patients and interview them, talk to them, introduce yourself. And so there's just 4 of us, 4 students, right? And after he gave the assignment, 3 of us were sitting there talking and said, I don't know if this is comfortable. We don't know these patients, and we're coming in for our benefit, kind of using them and using their time, trying to learn how to do an interview, how to present yourself in a hospital setting, And so it felt awkward, it felt uncomfortable. So we decided we're not doing this assignment, right? And so 4 students, only one, Reverend Marvin, did the assignment. Okay, so 3 of us were rebellious students, right? So we decided, no, we're not going to do this. So the next time we met and the assignment is due, my 2 friends, they quit the class altogether. They didn't even show up. So of the rebellious group, I'm the only one there. And so the sensei, the minister, he took that opportunity to, call me out, calling me a spoiled minister's son. You think you can get away with not doing these assignments, right? And so, and then we went to review Reverend Marvin's thing, and it was kind of, you learn from it, but in his assignment, he was supposed to be interviewing this patient, and the elderly woman, could tell he was uncomfortable. So she's asking him all these questions, making him feel more comfortable, and why don't you sit here instead of over there, and things like this. And in reviewing that, it did show how we were unprepared and a little bit lacking and things like this. But she kind of turned the tables completely upside down, where she was doing the interview more than he was. So anyway, that was the extent of my experience, learning about hospital settings and chaplaincy and things like this, okay? Other times, when you go and you visit like a temple member, they're very accustomed to you. They know they're very appreciative and respectful. And even when people are suffering, maybe you do the sambujo or do some chanting, the whole tension in the room just relax, settles. Even the monitors are calmed down, right? The breathing becomes more relaxed, and you can see the effect of some of the things that we do here at a service in our tradition, how it impacts these people going through these stressful times. Okay. So one of the things Nabishima Sensei was saying is that a lot of it is not doing, but being. So to be there and to sit and to listen to the patient and not really doing something hands-on, but just to be there with them. And that made me think about sometimes our pets even do that. They know you don't feel good, right? So your dog or cat will just wander by and sit with you. Maybe put their head on your lap, right? And comforting, not fixing your suffering, but sharing your suffering. And this kind of sense that pastoral care, the chaplains are there to be able to do. And in that, they share that time, right? Okay. So he's pointing out again that this phrase of not doing, but being, this is, he thought was real essential to how pastoral care should be, okay? And being this sense of compassion. In Sanskrit, karuna is compassion, okay? Karuna. And so originally, karuna meant groaning, right? And it's the sense that the Buddha groans every time he shares the suffering with other human beings. He has a load of the suffering of all beings, and he takes on a little bit more, right? And carrying the weight of this groaning to allow himself to carry even more of the suffering in the world. Okay, so this is karuna. So he thought, as we work with these people, suffering people, some of them are going through, end of life crisis kind of things, and when we share that time with them, we think about our own death and our own limitedness, the people that we have lost in our families, right? The Shotsuki people today are feeling that very much so. So as we think of their death and this loss that we share, we realize this kindness, compassion that is being acknowledged and shared, when we say Namo Amida Butsu, thinking of this symbol of infinite compassion moving throughout the universe, touching each person, each body, right? So in preparing also, I looked up this, there was an article written by Buddhist chaplains, of different faiths, and, they each had a story in their article, but I just looked at the very end of it, what was their conclusion that they wanted to share with people. So there's a couple of them that were very nicely written, one by Chen Xing Han, and her article was The Other Shore. She says we cultivate them without bounds in our relationship with these patients that we're visiting. We cultivate this relationship. They embrace us without distinction. We are fed even as we do the nourishing. We are clothed in a shared fabric of joy and sorrow, fear and dreaming. As we embody these divine dwellings, we are transported to the other shore. So as we go through this time of being with them, listening to their suffering, there's this shared connection, right? And in this connection, she calls it being transported to the other shore, right? To the realm of the Buddha. Another chaplain. His name is Clay Gomez, and his article, The Stuff of Life, and in his conclusion, he wrote, "I am privileged each day to have a calling that enables me to plumb compassion's depth, constantly being challenged to awaken to the preciousness of this moment, this one right here, and hold as dear the gift of serving others. A chaplain is reminded daily of the truth of impermanence and the omnipresence of dukkha, suffering." So I think we too, through the insights and the values we come to know here at the temple, we come to recognize this preciousness of each moment. Right? We lose someone. Those moments were so precious. And we come to the service together in our moment with each other, our family, our siblings, spouses, precious time that we get so busy in our lives. They just come and go. But when we take this moment to share this sense of connection, then we come to recognize and understand and appreciate. Okay. So final words from Nabeshima Sensei. End-of-life care in Buddhism leads the patient's family and caregivers to learn from the deep aspirations that patient discovers within themselves. So as you develop this connection to the patients, even to their family, the medical staff, there's like an unfolding of compassion, infinite compassion. Here we call it the compassion of Amida Buddha, but we've had it happen. We've seen it happen. It happens here when we have our dear friends' funeral services, or when we lost mom, when we lost dad. Yeah, we have this, and we come to recognize this because of what we go through, these Buddhist principles and values. One can learn many things from adverse conditions. Adversity can be the catalyst for spiritual growth. Sometimes tragedy provides the opportunity for unbounded compassion and generosity. The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all. So as I read that last line, I think of the lotus blossom. We think of that often as a Buddhist symbol coming from the vile mud and muck in a stagnant pond, right? This is where the lotus blossom is rooted. And from that beautiful white flower blossom emerges at the top of the pond, right? So this adversity that we're calling this mud and muck, beauty. Okay, so this is part of what I was able to go through during the time off of the temple, and very appreciative that all of our temples allow us this time to go and meet others. There was a time when the Eastern District hosted, and you had to go to New York, fly to New York, and I was at a different temple then. I thought, wow, that's a lot to ask a temple to pay for a round-trip ticket and lodging all the way in New York, right? So I didn't go, right? Thought I was being considerate of my temple. But afterwards, I thought, I should have gone. I should have gone. And the reason is that each district hosts, and you get to learn what's going on in their district, what happens in their district, what kind of resources do they have. And so we are able to learn about Eastern or Midwest or Southern California or the Northwest, and see what kind of limitations and sanghas and temples that they have been able to grow and develop and establish. And it's kind of like a cross-pollination to be able to see that and to share that. So all the more because I didn't go that one year. I thought this is very valuable, and we should always appreciate that the temple supports such activities. Please join me in Gassho. We'll conclude the message for today. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Dennis. That was wonderful insight, interesting new terminology, new words I'm hearing, and yeah, just great to hear all the quotes that you got to gather up. Appreciate that. We're going to stand again for the Gatha. Please stand for We Are One. In the White Book on page 150. It goes from 150 to 152. Please be seated, yeah. So thank you to those who helped with the altar preparations and with the service. Thank you to Reverend Dennis. YouTube by Fletcher and Kimberly. Altar Flowers by Jane and the organist Lenny, thank you. And to all those who brought refreshments for today's service, thank you. At this time, are there any newcomers or visitors that we could... Hi there. Thank you for raising your hands. If you'd like to stand and introduce yourself, you're welcome to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Peterson. I live in Alameda. I'm married to the lovely Barbie Wong. It's nice to be here today.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, thank you for coming to our service today. We're going to go through some announcements now. Next Sunday is September 14th. We have Ohigan service and Birthday Sunday with a guest speaker, Reverend Elaine Donlin, Minister's Assistant, Minister Assistant, Buddhist Church of San Francisco. Karakai Luncheon and the program honoring our temple members 88 years and older. Yeah, the Karakai. And then Sunday, September 21st is the family service. Sunday, September 28th is an outdoor service with the Ask Reverend Dennis, where you get to ask Reverend Dennis some questions if you have any to think up. Yeah, anything else I should bring up before we close the service? No? Thank you all for attending this morning's service, and please come up to offer incense and join us for refreshments in the social hall.